Before I get to our gospel text this morning, I want to quickly just revisit the story of Job. Having gone through all that he had gone through, we hear at the conclusion how blessed he was. I tried to visualize in some way how many days, weeks, months, years it may have been for Job going through all that he went through before he finally got the blessing he received. This passage from Job's tells us that all that God had brought upon him, but you recall that the story began with God giving Satan permission to go after Job. So it's not God who really brought it upon Job, but because Job has survived, God blessed him with more after all of his calamities. And God allowed him to live long enough to see 4 generations of his descendants. I don't know how long it took him to get to that point, but he must have been someone else, I suspect, in order for him to have survived, in order to experience all of those, because his faithfulness. But I just wanted to lift that up because we conclude that at this portion of Job's passage, that God blessed him with a whole lot more. And he lived long enough to see 4 generations of his descendants. I don't know how many of us will be blessed by God in that way, but that's a different story and a different sermon for a different time. I want to move us forward to the gospel where Jesus and his disciples and the crowd are going through Jericho, and Bartimaeus, this blind man, apparently, who always sits by the roadside and waits for people to give him handout. And on this occasion, hears that it is Jesus of Nazareth who is coming by. And he begins to scream. And the crowd wants him to be quiet, because Jesus must have been saying something that had their attention. So be quiet, Bartimaeus. Jesus is talking to the rest of us. And Bartimaeus will not be quiet. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And he gets Jesus' attention. I don't know how large the crowd may have been, but in some way Bartimaeus must have been loud enough to get Jesus' attention. And Jesus stops and asks Bartimaeus, "What would you have me do for you?" Apparently, it didn't take Bartimaeus a long time to think about what he wanted from Jesus. Let me see again. It suggests to me that Bartimaeus may have been able to see before, and because of something, illness, whatever the case, he went blind. And now he depended on the society to help him in his blindness. Others have to give him what they had left over, if you will. Others may have contributed to him. Somebody took him to the way where he sat and left him by the roadside, and then came back for him in the afternoon or in the evening or whatever the case. Bartimaeus wants his sight again so that he can become independent. I don't want to depend on people. Jesus, let me see again. Your faith has made you well. What? Was it his faith in calling out to Jesus? Or was it answering the question that Jesus asked him? What was it? In any case, Jesus says to Bartimaeus, your faith has made you well. Let me see again. Let me be independent. Let me be able to assist others. Instead of being the one who is being assisted, let me not sit by the roadside and wait for people to give me their handout. And Jesus is coming by today, and he says to you, what will you have me do for you? Like Bartimaeus, do you have a ready response? I want this, I want that, I want the other. What would you have Jesus do for you this morning? if he were to ask you that question, what would you say? I want this, I want that. Bartimaeus wanted to see. What do you want? What do you want Jesus to do for you today? Is it your health? Your finances? Your relationship? Do you want to know more of him, have more of Christ? What will you have Jesus do for you today? When Jesus spoke to Bartimaeus, he didn't do anything other than speak to Bartimaeus. Your faith has made you well. He regained his sight. He didn't go home. He followed Jesus. What will you have Jesus do for you today in order for you to keep on following him, or to follow him to begin with? What will you have me do for you? Sometimes we think we know what we want from God, but that's not what we really need, do we? Not often what we think we want is what we need. The one who knows us better than we know ourselves knows exactly what we need, and it is my opinion that he will give us what we need at the right time. He is never, ever late. The journey may appear long, but he is never, ever late. Have a conversation with Job this morning, and he will tell you, I almost gave up because it was a long going. I do not know what your request would be of Jesus this morning, but this much I know. He knows what you need, and what you may request may not be what you need, but he knows what you need. He knows what we all need. Lord, do for us that which you know we need. Because whatever you do is the best that we can ever hope for and receive. What will you have me do for you today? We think about it. But he knows. To help us become more of the people he has and is calling us to be. The people who are compassionate and kind to one another. The people who see the need of those who are less fortunate and try to make a difference. The people who do not often complain because others are less fortunate. Lord, what will you have us do for you today? He asked Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do? I'm saying to us, let us ask him, Lord, what will you have us do today? Help us to do that which you will have us do, so that you may receive glory, honor, and praise, because we have served you faithfully in our generation. Help us to be the people you have called us to be, so that through our witness, others may come to know you for who you are, the Savior and Redeemer of the world, and seek to serve you faithfully. Help us to be truly the people of God in a world that is looking to see God's people and sometimes are disappointed. Help us to be the people you have us to be. Because you know it's not easy, but help us to be your people. So it's not so much Bartimaeus asking him for his sight. I'm suggesting to you and me that we will say to him, help us, Lord, to be the people you will have us to be, so that through our witness in this community and beyond, others may come to know you for who you are, the Savior and Redeemer of the world. Help us. Help us because you know our weaknesses and our shortcomings. But help us. Even at times when we want to give up because nothing seems to be working, help us to keep on keeping on, knowing that you go with us. You've promised never to leave us nor forsake us. What will you have me do for you today? Lord, help us to be the people you will have us to be. That through our lives, others may be blessed. And when our days on earth is ended and we are called from labor to rest, then others will have a reason to give glory and praise to you because we passed this way. Help us to be the people you have us to be. Amen.
Amen.